Hello, good evening, and welcome to another in the series Why I Write. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. I am going to now do something a little bit different than I've done before. So let me copy this. Let me go to Why I Write. Something really different this time. We are gonna go live on YouTube as well as on Facebook. Never done this before, so we hope that this works perfectly this time. So welcome to another in the series Why I Write. We are today organizing a new thrust. We're doing things a little bit different on Why I Write. Me and my two guests here on live on YouTube. We definitely wanted to try to expand our reach. So this is the reason we are going ahead live on YouTube. We have dropped the link on our regular Facebook page. And I'm also saying hi to you over here on Facebook. Um, we're saying hi to you over here on Facebook. We're waiting for it to count down. Welcome again to another in the series Why I Write. Now, right now, we are broadcasting, live streaming on YouTube, and we have shared that YouTube link to Facebook. So if you're watching this live right now, me on this live with you, this is not the broadcast. Find the link on the Why I Write page and on my personal Top and Oliver page, and you will see the link to watch the live stream. Okay? And so if I sign off of this, no worries. Catch the conversation live on my Facebook page, or you can click on the link and join us live right here on YouTube on my Why I Write channel because we're expanding, y'all. That's what we're doing. We're expanding. So I'm gonna scoop up and welcome my special guest for the evening. We have with us in house two sisters, siblings who have both of them have produced their own published work. Their published work of one is called Undaunted and Determined, and the other, He Whispers, Be Still. Both ladies hail from the parish that my mother hails from, 𝐑𝐈𝐕 St. Thomas. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome you both to Why I Write right here on YouTube and Facebook. Welcome, Oberlene Whyte. Welcome, Beverley Rose. How are you doing this evening?
Thank you most kindly. I'm okay.
That's good to see you. Good to see you too, Beverley. Beverley, take yourself off mute so we can see you as well.
Yes, I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, I don't know why I chose tonight for us to try this new method out because people want to hear, people have been asking me, why don't go live on YouTube? So here we are, live on YouTube and sharing in this Why I Write space. I am so glad that both of you have been able to be here with me. It's been a while. Oberlin, we first had our conversation on Why I Write back in 2022 with your memoir, Undaunted and Determined.
Yeah.
You remember that conversation?
That was published on the 8th of March, 2022.
Our birth month, in our birth
Yes,
month,
yes,
right?
yes.
And right thereafter, you came and you came with us and you were with us here on Why I Write, describing how it felt to be an author, a published author, nonetheless, that shares so much of your journey, so much of your life story. That was remarkable. Thank you again for joining me here tonight, Oberlene. And you, Beverley. Beverley is your sister, your baby
Yeah.
sister,
My
Oberlene.
baby sister and my daughter, sister and
And
daughter.
your daughter.
Yes.
You have to go explain to me how that worked. And Beverley Rose published her book, her memoirs, He Whispers, Be Still. And this was published back in 2024, last year. Last year is when we got together,
Yes.
Bev. So welcome again.
Thank you.
So the first question I have for both of you ladies, anybody can go first, is what has your life been like since the publishing of your memoir? Anyone can go first.
For me, it's just another day. I have done so many things, Kathleen, so many things that I had not thought of that I would have done in my life. And it's not like they were planned. Things happen. So for me, it's just another day because I keep going from one thing to another. I have done bodybuilding. I didn't know that I would do it. I didn't plan that. It happened. I'm now a peace builder, Rotary Peace Fellow, and peace activator. Things that I didn't think of. So I've been doing so many things that I didn't even stop to think of what my life has been like, because my life has been so fascinating and so full of everything. As a matter of fact, it was on the day that I launched my book on the 8th of March that when I stood there and I started talking to the audience, I said, I am an author. Am I really an author? It came home forcefully at that time. And sometimes I don't even give it much thought until somebody say you need to make a movie from your book because this is where you're at now.
Look at that. Look at
Yeah.
that. That is a full and complete life. So it sounds to me that leaning in to your creative endeavors really has pushed more of the depth of you to the forefront.
Yeah.
And you end up being a great health advocate. You end up being a great peace advocate. You end up being a tremendous advocate for so many different important parts of our society or life. You are into the support of the community, looking after elders. You're into the business of building up young people and all of that good stuff. We want to hear some of your advice as we go on tonight on Why I Write. So thank you for that, Oberlene. What about you, Beverley? How has it been since you have published your book? What has your life been like?
For me, sometimes it's like surreal. So when persons indicate or they're introducing me and they say author, most time that's when I reflect to say, really, I'm really an author. But for me, it has been an exciting journey since publishing because persons have been approaching me, persons who have read the book have been approaching me to say how much they have been fulfilled in reading the book. And most of all, persons are asking me, when are you going to write again? So then I recognize that the book has meaningful impact on the persons who read it. And persons have also been giving, I've been giving really good feedback. And so it has inspired me to want to share more with others, and especially young persons who have read the book. They have been also inspired, like persons are saying, if you can do it, I can do it too. And that is really a motivation for me to see how much it has motivated others. So it has been very, very, very encouraging and exciting for me since then.
No, I love to hear that, because what would life have been if Beverly and Oberlene were too shy, too ashamed, too afraid to write their stories? What would life look like, Beverly or Oberlene, if you did not take on this journey? What do you think?
A lot of people would not have looked back at their story, because I remember a friend was talking to me and my daughter about his story since writing my book. And I asked him, have you told your children these things? And he said, no, because if I had not read your book, I was so ashamed of my story. But when I read your book, I realized that now I can share with you. So I encourage him to talk to his children about his story, because everybody has a story.
Yes.
Everybody's story is unique. So if I realized that if I had not written my book, so many people would have suppressed their story. And we all have a story, and a very good and strong, a very unique story that we want to tell. So when we read others, like people have read mine, Joan has said it, Beverly. For me, she's Joan. So when people read and are inspired by me, it it gives me that hope. It gives me that drive. And I think I would have left out some people if I had not written my story. Or some people would have been left out if I had not written my story.
What I'm hearing from you both is we cannot underestimate how inspiring we are to others and for others. For members of our immediate communities, and even for those persons we have not yet met. Because we choose to share our story, because we choose to be transparent, as they like to call it, because we choose to use the story writing technique that's available to all of us to heal ourselves, because it's a part of our healing, no?
Yes.
You know, to heal ourselves, we must not underestimate that we still affect our community as we ourselves continue to grow. And if part of that growth means writing our story in black and white and sharing our journey and sharing our triumphs, that's the important part. I mean, it was so touching when I was speaking to you, Beverly, on Why I Write last year, when you said you became pregnant much to your own disappointment, but how your mother turned that disappointment, helped you turn that disappointment into a triumph. Many people, many women, many young girls, Caribbean girls, West Indian girls, who hear your story and find themselves in the same boat will now know that, look, it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. So as you share your stories, it definitely makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference to the world. As we talk about making a huge difference, let us talk about the wisdom that your own writings have developed for you and what you now get to share that you didn't know before you wrote the book and published the book. Let's talk about that.
You want to go ahead, Joan, or
Yes,
allow me?
I'll go ahead. For me, it gave me so much more confidence because before I wrote, I never thought I had it in me. I knew I was actually sharing my stories at church and wherever it is that I found a listening ear. But it built my confidence because I never knew that I had it in me. And also, it built my confidence in talking to especially younger women. That chapter that you mentioned about the pregnancy, that's one of my favorite chapters because I have met so many young women who have gone through the experience. And in me just penning that experience, it has given them, it has taken away some of the shame that they have been living with because they express it. And so for me, it has built my confidence and helped me also to build other person's confidence for them to recognize that not because you have gone through this situation, it's not the end of the world and there is still light at the end of the tunnel if you just continue to be the person that God has appointed you to be. You can make it.
Awesome. That is awesome. And this is why we write, because we have stories to tell. And we're not just trying to dump on people or complain about our situation. We have lessons to share. Lessons to share. Thank you so much for Beverley/Joan. For you, Oberlene?
Yes, for me, writing my story helps me to understand who I am. It allows me to know myself more because there were things that I did not even thought of, I wasn't thinking of until I read what I wrote down. I realized exactly who Oberlene is and why and how I became who I am. That happened for me. My growth and development. Reading my story allowed me to see where I came from, who am I, and why I am who I am.
I love that. Now, for both of you who grew up from the same mother in the same household, in the same yard, in the same district, how have you both encouraged and supported each other in this particular area of your journeys? Yeah, you both are mothers, grandparents even. But in this new area, in this new era of life, in this new discovery of self, how was it for both of you to be discovering this other part of you all? Because right now, you're HR executive, Beverley, and Oberlin, right now, you wear many hats. Retired from the Jamaica Constabulary Force. How would you say that your lives out of the same household prepared you to support each other at this juncture of life?
I take that one first for a reason.
Okay.
As a child, I was the person in charge. I was the challenging one. I was the one who would not keep my mouth shut. I was the one who took my siblings like they were mine. And I would reprimand my parents, both father and mother, if they did something that I thought or I felt at the time it was not right. So it's like my siblings walk in my footsteps. Although I'm not the eldest, I'm the second one, but a girl, you know, that girl had to be when mother is not around. So my siblings were mine, my children, although they were siblings. I was always there for them to look up to, although I didn't see it until Joan said it, you know. But I was that motherly person. So I think that part of me encourages my siblings and even Joan to write her whole book.
Good.
Because Joan lived with me at one time. I
Yes.
joined the police force, she joined the police force.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote a book, she wrote a book. So
Amazing. Amazing. Okay. So it started from very early where you were like
yes, yes, for me,
the
right.
big sister slash mother.
Yes.
For me, I would say we are the chip of the same block. And from our parents' perspective, our mother, especially, she sort of instilled in us for us to support each other.
Mm.
And so, as my sister said, you know, I call her sister. As she said, she has been an inspiration in the family. And so when she was writing her book, I was very integral in helping in the story because I am one of those persons who remember the details.
Mm.
I remember the details. And
Mhm.
oftentimes, you know, I would help her to remember also the finer details of the events. And so I was very integral in helping in her writing her book. And then when I started to write my book also, she also became so integral in the stories because the stories link. Because in her book, I am also an integral part of her story. And in my book, she's also an integral part of the story. And that is because of the family bond that we cherished from children growing up.
I love this. So when we're going to buy one book, He Whispers Be Still or Undaunted and Determined, we are getting a whole family picture. So we have to buy both books. We have to read both books, people.
Certainly.
So you can get the full circle. You can get the full story circle and the full story. You know, do you see yourselves actually collaborating on one book together? And if so, what would that book be?
That's a possibility.
Mhm.
That's a possibility. Our life have been similar in a lot of ways, and the determination that we have, and that is also coming from a family inheritance. The determination to overcome challenges, the determination to achieve, the determination to grow. I think we share that. I must say though that my sister is a little more stronger than I am, and that's something that I try to emulate. So I think that's a very good possibility for us to collaborate in doing something together, and to share, you know, how we help each other to grow in that determination. That's a I never thought of it, but now that you have mentioned it, that's food for thought, definitely. Definitely food for thought.
That is good. I'm just throwing it out there because, you know, it's not often we have members of the same family together at the same time, writing in the same season. So when we see this happening, we have to cheer it on and we have to acknowledge that there is gold in them, their words. There is a whole lot of nice stuff to get to enjoy, you know. So that's good that we can collaborate and we can definitely recognize that we have something special that goes on here. Now, my next question to both of you, and again, anyone can take this going forward, is if you had the opportunity to write your book again, would it be any different than what it is now?
for me, no. For
Why?
me, no. Not that it wouldn't be different. It would be the story. Because if I give you the background to my book, At Christmas, we have our family gathering at Christmas. That's when our family normally gets together. And for years, my siblings would talk about the things that I did as a child and how daring I was. So when my daughter became an adult, she said, Mommy, you should write your book. And I said, who would want to read it? We talk about, she said, every Christmas we talk, and it is as it is as if it is new. So she started writing, but then she went abroad. So when I came from Africa with more stories, and it was everybody felt that it was so exciting, I said, no, it's time to write. So I don't know, it would not be different because it is the same me and the same experiences that I had. And even now that I have written, when I've gone through, maybe there are some things that I should have had, but didn't remember. But the story would have been the same.
Look here. I'll come into that Christmas dinner this year. Please save my space.
You're welcome. You are welcome.
Me come in.
Yes.
All right. Good.
All right.
I like that response, Oberlene. I really appreciate that. Beverly, for you, if you
Yes,
had
for
to do your
me,
book,
yeah, for me, it would have been, the contents would have been more.
mhm,
The content would have been more. Why? Because as I read my book, I read my book. And each chapter I read, I recognize that there were things that I had left out. And even my children, when they read, they remind me. They remind me of some of the things that could have been included. So the stories would have remained the same, but the contents would have been more for me. Yes.
That is interesting. That's pretty intriguing. Intriguing. You know, as Oberlin mentioned earlier about the growth that came with writing and publishing our book. One of the good things about our writings, whenever we choose to write, we find ourselves looking back over our shoulders saying, okay, what better could I have done? How could I have fixed that? How could I embellish that? And sometimes we want to embellish, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're satisfied with that output and getting ready to do something else, do something more, do something more. As you continue to contribute to your community, are you still afraid of firearms, Beverly?
Certainly, I will not go back that route again. The fear is still there.
Okay, I got you. I got you. And Oberlene, would you have, still taken up arms and manage your weaponry knowledge as well as you have?
I could still do it, but I wouldn't want to.
All right.
Yes, I've moved on to other areas and I'm enjoying.
Yeah. Now, what I want to do is to pick your brains a little bit about the wisdom you have going on now. Yes, you're authors, but being an author is just a sliver of your life. Once you've gotten the story out, once you've gone through publishing, once you've gone through launching, once you've gone through talking about the different things in your book, you find yourself in a new landscape. For you, Oberlene, I want you to share with us, why is it important for you to continue to encourage us when it comes on to healthy living and lifestyle? Perhaps that's your next book. Who knows?
Yes, that's true. I'm being encouraged to write about health and wellness. It is important because, as I wrote in my book, I have several illnesses that I was diagnosed with. Some of them, I don't know if I still have them, but I was diagnosed. And I started taking care of myself. So it is important that we eat well, sleep well, exercise, and live life purposefully. Those are what we need to have a full life. We must have a purpose in life. Eat well. God food. When I talk about eat well, I'm talking about eating from the earth, eating God's food. Sleep is very important, and exercise is very important to healthy living and healthy lifestyle. It didn't come to me at once. It came over time as we talk about growth and development. Because I became diabetic at 42, and it was a roller coaster ride, yes, because I didn't understand diabetes. And I find that many of the doctors that are treating people with illnesses, they've never had that illness either. So they are trained to prescribe a medication, which that medication may be good for you, but not good for me. It might make me worse. But one thing I can say for healthy living, food, I mean, good food, food from the earth, it is good for all of us. With whatever illness you may have, if you decide to eat healthy and to eat what God has provided for us, you can't be wrong at all. And so I have started my journey. When I came from Darfur, I started because at one time I was thinking, who are going to raise my children when I die? That's the stage that I reached. Yes, I started to will them. Which sister is going to take which one and which sister is going to, that's where I reached. And see, I started eating well, and I take no medication at all. None whatsoever. Not even one medication that I take. I do my juicing. I am committed to my exercise. I live purposefully, and I make sure that I not only sleep, but sleep well.
Very important.
It is very important, those things we do.
Yes.
For
some people boast that, I spend how many hours doing this? It's my business. I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's not the right thinking. That's not
no, you're not taking care of yourself that way. And for us to be healthy and well and to help others, we have to take care of ourselves. Because if we are not well, neither spiritually, mentally, physically, we can't take care of other people spiritually, mentally, physically also.
I quite agree. Oberlene, I'm going to go to Beverley now, but while I'm talking to Beverley about the same question I just asked you, I need for you, if no one follows Oberlene's page where she gives you all the backstories of how she does her juicing, I want you to share with us one quick juicing combination that anybody can have. All right?
Okay.
I'll come back to that in just a moment. So probably you, Beverley, the same question I asked Oberlene, and Oberlene explained about the importance of health. What has become paramount to you now? Now that you're on a bigger stage, you're now an author, you now share more, you work with international bodies. What becomes now paramount for you, Beverley?
And for me, I am also big on health. Also very big on health.
And I know you're still a little wispy. You're still wispy, a little bit like Oberlene. Yes.
Yes.
Good to see you, yes. Lorna. 1 second. Good to see you, Lorna Hoylett. And good to see you, Zamira. Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, you're also big on health.
Yes, also big on health. And my sister always encouraged that the diseases that I end up with, you don't have to. Some of them are hereditary. And she would tell me, you don't have to end up with these diseases. So she will say, you've still, although you don't have them, but you still have to be careful so that you don't get them. So I am working on myself and sharing with others also how to stay healthy. But outside of that though, I am also big on helping people to understand that you can love yourself while loving others. So one of my pet peeve is how we treat each other, whether it is within the work community or within the church community or within the home, how we treat other persons. I try to share with others to say, while we are loving others and we're helping others to love themselves, we also ought to love ourselves and to make that extra effort, because we can't love others if we don't love ourselves. And so that is one of my goal that I am working towards wherever I am. And wherever I am, whether at work, at church, at home, I always say I've got to represent. I'm a Christian.
Yes.
I know that oftentimes, because of how Christian behaves, a lot of persons don't have that confidence. But for me, I ensure that I practice what I preach. So even in my book, whatever is there, I speak plainly. So I don't hide my challenges, and I don't hide my success. So even in my book, as I write my challenges, but I am sure, I make sure that I indicate how I overcome those challenges, and how I overcome the challenges is by depending on God for him to make me into what he wants me to be. And so as I try to encourage others outside of the book and what is in the book, it's about helping them to understand that they can love themselves and they can love others with the help of God.
Indeed. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Thank you. So spirituality, one of the hallmarks of good health and well-being that Oberlene mentioned in her share, is at the top of your list. And it really should be at the top of all of our lists, because, that's our beginning, middle, and end, really, and you have to find your truth, and you have to live from that purpose. And in asking for spiritual guidance, God's guidance to write your book even, then that's a win all round. That's a win-win all around. I have one listener here, one audience member, Lorna. She's asking, can the ladies show their book covers? We want to see the book covers of your books, He Whispers Be Still and Undaunted and Determined. So here we have Beverly with hers, He Whispers Be Still. And Oberlene, just talk up for me, please. If you speak, the camera will switch to you. Just say, this is my book. Yes.
Undaunted and Determined.
Yes. And I love that cover with that little girl running through the KNPs. I never had the privilege of running through any St. Thomas KNPs because claim that me come from town. And like my grandmother would have say, "When you stop run up and down out the door without no shoes, me no want no mother come back and nothing do no." So I didn't have that privilege. So I'm going to invite you now, Oberlene, to read an excerpt from your book, Undaunted and Determined, because you say you love to read from that chapter.
Holding up the cover, I lost that page that I wanted to read, because I was thinking that you asked a question before that you wanted me to share a recipe.
Yes, so share the recipe while you look for the book. If you want. Yes. Eh?
That was more on my mind than.
All right, well, share the recipe. Share the recipe first.
Share the recipe first.
And then let Beverly read. And while Beverly reading, you can find back the place.
Right. Okay, I'm going to share a very simple recipe for hypertension, that is high blood pressure. It's a chocha, one lime or lemon, a lime, a whole lime, seed, skin and all, and lemon, celery, and coconut, a little bunch of celery and coconut water. Blend that with some, you have coconut water. Blend that, strain it, and drink. That's for hypertension. And it's very effective for hypertension.
So that's coconut,
coconut water, a lime or a lemon with skin, seed, everything.
Okay.
and a chocho.
All right. And some celery. Them grow
Yes,
celery in
and some
Jamaica?
celery. Yes, some celery.
No,
Yes.
they grow
Hy-
celery in Jamaica?
Hypertension. Hypertension.
Yes, they grow celery in Jamaica. I've never seen them grow celery in Jamaica.
Yes, celery grow in Jamaica. I plant celery at home.
I believe you. I believe you. I
Yeah.
just never have seen it. I thought it
Yeah.
was more a foreign vegetable than anything else.
Well, I guess everything we get now because we get the seed, so we
Yes.
can have it now. Because I plant both celery and parsley.
That's another thing too that we can look into doing, especially if we live in warmer climates, to definitely start our own herb garden. Yes, to have your own herb garden so you can pluck from it. I
And
love when I,
and that is better
yeah,
because when you plant your own, you don't you prevent the pesticide and the insecticide and all those things that they use to spray on vegetables to make them big and
right.
yeah.
I love when I plant back my little bump of pak choy and it start bud. And I
Yes.
want to do a salad. Me just go outside and just pick up the pieces and put it in my salad. And I feel very, very good. I like when I grow a pepper tree, like I have a pepper tree, I grow the sweet peppers, and me see only two dege sweet pepper come. Lord, I'm happy.
True.
Because I grow in a pot, you
I
know.
have some outside right now.
Yes, and it tastes better. It tastes better.
Yes.
Tomatoes, same thing. All right. Thank you so much for that recipe, Oberlene. Um, Beverly, what is your share from your book at this time?
Okay, I want to share from my one of my favorite chapter, Unconditional Love, that spoke about that same time when I was pregnant. I went back home, ashamed, not very uncertain of what to expect. But my mother, despite the fact that she chastised, but she took me under her wing. And so I just want to share a small excerpt after I had gone back home. It says, on the first Sabbath morning after returning home, I had no intention of going to my childhood church at the Hampton Court Seventh-day Adventist Church. I believe my mother wasn't expecting me to attend. So I remained in bed while she dressed for church. To my surprise, she approached me asking if I wasn't going to church. Confident that she would understand, I replied, "No, Mama." Annoyed, she questioned why. I pointed to my growing stomach, expecting her to understand, but she seemed puzzled and again questioned. "So why are you not going to church?" Boldly, I said, "I'm pregnant." Astonishingly, my mother remarked, "So what? Pregnant people not go to church?" I couldn't fathom her expectation for me to subject myself to potential embarrassment before the church community. Overwhelmed, I started to cry, attempting to convey my embarrassment about attending church in my condition. Believing that I might be excused from church based on my excuse, my mother retorted, "You should have thought about that before now." Ashamed and on the verge of despair, my mother's loving voice intervened. "Come, put on your clothes. And if anybody at church approach you with any question, send them to me." Reluctantly, I got dressed and accompanied my mother to church. I'm uncertain what my mother said or did, but the people at church treated me with nothing but kindness over the following months, and I attended church throughout my pregnancy. Their acceptance and support, despite my circumstances, was a testament to the resilience and compassion of our church community.
That's a wonderful story. I love it. I love it. It made such an impression on me the first time I heard it. And again, it still does. Again, it still does. Because I believe despite the modernization of our world, despite the increase in knowledge, despite the increase in technology, I think still nothing beats love of fellow man, fellow woman, love of community, love between us, encouraging each other, and holding each other's hand. And stop with this "I'm an island" kind of attitude, but to bring love and joy and togetherness wherever we may go. And in touching our young people too. you know, whether they're 10 years younger than we are, 20, 30, 40, 50. You know, I think caring for each other as humans is very important. As you said earlier, Beverly, it peeves you when we don't treat each other well. It peeves you to see people getting ill-treated. So likewise, we really look forward to continue to engender love of the fellow man, even whilst loving ourselves. Thank you so much for that excerpt from He Whispers, Be Still. Let's see the cover of that book once more. Yes, ma'am. And
He
this,
whispers, be still.
He Whispers, Be Still.
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much, Beverly, for that. Oberlene, you are up next.
Okay, my story sets in Darfur, Sudan, where I was as a peacekeeper. Everybody said I was daring as a child, and it seems I took all that with me wherever I go. So I was in Darfur, and we were supposed to be helping the local people who were distanced from their homes because of the civil war that was there. So we couldn't get to go out to do patrols and all those things. And I was the person in charge. I was the first woman to be a commander in Darfur.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided that I was going to meet the rebels. Now, the rebels, a few weeks before, had killed some Rwandan military and Ghanaian police.
Mm.
Just next door to me. It's like we have St. Andrew Central and we have Conference Spring. So next door to me in a province, they killed
Right.
some police and soldiers. But so we weren't going on patrol. And I said, I can't come here to help these people and can't help them. We are stuck in the camp because we were living in the military base because there weren't homes where we could live. We had to live in tents.
Mm-hmm.
But I was uncomfortable doing all of that. So I decided, so I spoke with the commissioner and he said I could try. I talked to the military commander at the base. He said there wasn't enough of the men. So I went to El Fasher, the capital headquarters, and I spoke with the military there, and they said, yes, madam, we will accompany you. The people that I was in charge of, over 100 people, they said, they're not coming because it's a suicide mission I'm going on. The one language assistant that we have is a Darfurian. He said, madam, these rebels are vicious. It is that you are not coming back. I was determined because normally when I do things and I don't know why, I think about it afterwards. If I'm determined to do something, I'm going to do it. I will think about everything when I'm done and say, why did I do it? So it was a comparable situation when I decided to go over 38 kilometers to meet a rebel group. This time it was too much, and only one unarmed police officer was willing to go with me, KP, my Botswanian colleague, accompanied the military and me. Not even the one local language assistant we had on the team site was willing to participate in the enterprise. He vigorously advised against it. He felt it was a dangerous mission and that we would not come out of it alive, as the group was very hostile and intolerable to interlopers. He was brutally frank. Not him. He wasn't going. For him, even if it meant him losing his job, he said he was from the region and he knew the ways of that rebel group. Despite the warning given, nothing could dissuade me. I had already made up my mind. I was determined to go. I proceeded with the military to a part of Darfur over 38 kilometers away from the military base, where I had no thought that Jamaica would be known. The visit was a very frightening experience. When we arrived in the valley, I saw the rebel vehicles started to take strategic position on the outskirts, blocking us inside, which meant we could not come out of the valley without a fight if they decided against it. It was a movie scene unfolding before my very eyes. My heart was racing. What I'd gotten myself into. I did not understand the rebel words to the UNAMID military, but I tried my best to stay composed externally. One soldier from Rwanda spoke Arabic, and he was our language assistant for that day. I kept close to the military commander, who reassured me and interpreted what the rebels said. They were shouting at us. The rebels asked why we came, who invited us. How could we come to somebody's home uninvited? They said we were not welcome and that the United Nations represented the government, but we quickly obliged when the rebel leader arrived and inquired the reason for our visit. He invited us to walk. I genuinely thought we were walking to our death. As I said to myself, it seems this time I bite off more than I could chew. After walking some distance, I saw men coming towards us with mats. I felt somewhat relaxed. It was an invitation to talk, but we had to introduce ourselves one by one before we sat. The leader told us that he was not prepared to speak or hold discussion with some people from specific countries. But alas, when it was my turn and the leader asked where I was from, I tried to sound stronger than I felt as I mustered every courage in me and responded, I am from Jamaica and my government sent me here. Before finishing the sentence, the leader said, my sister, you're welcome. I know about Jamaica. Our foreparents left Africa, went to Jamaica and became fat, and we are here suffering. I also know about that rebel leader from Jamaica, Bob Marley, he boasted. I was relieved. My heart settled back into its place. Yes.
Wow.
You're muted.
I am muted?
No,
Yes, I
talking.
know I'm muted. Yes, I
Okay.
know. Oh my goodness. Wasn't that amazing? Two amazing excerpts from two amazing books written by these Jamaican women. They're the Smith women. They're our neighbors from St. Thomas. How St. Thomas must be so proud of you both. Beverley Rose with her book, He Whispers, Be Still. And you just heard the excerpt from Oberlene's book, Undaunted and Determined. I am so glad that you got. I guess we have to read the rest of the story to see how that turns out. Where can we get your books, Beverly and Oberlene? Where can we find them? If we're
Both
not
of
in
them are on
Jamaica, where can
Amazon.
we find them?
Both are on Amazon. John's book is on Amazon, mine also on Amazon.
So again, just hold up
Right.
those books so we can get a good look at them. So when we go on Amazon, we know what we're looking for. We're looking for Undaunted and Determined. Let me put this view up so everybody can see it. And we're talking about He Whispers, Be Still. Tonight has been the first return to our live streaming for Why I Write. And tonight we had two sisters, and we built tonight's presentation, the tale of two sisters. But this tale continues to unfold. And if for the first time you're watching Why I Write on YouTube, then feel free to share this link. And as we, grow our membership so that more people can hear about what our writers are doing. Do you have any last words for us, Beverly and Oberlene?
Okay. For young writers and people who want to write, I would say read, 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 and read. You have to love reading. Because if you look at my story, I missed school a lot during my school years, but I was a reader.
Mm.
And also practice writing. Practice, practice, practice. And don't be afraid of disappointment. Disappointment is a part of life. And you're not going to at your first write, it is going to be okay. But we have to not be afraid of disappointment and continue to follow your heart. Everybody has a story. Every one of us has a story. All of our stories are unique and can make a good book.
Thank you so much, Oberlene. Thank you so much. Beverly, Joan.
Yes. So I just want to encourage others. I know we have a tendency to procrastinate. So even since I wrote my book, there are other persons who have come up to say, if you can do it, I can do it too. And when I reach out to say, where are you in starting to write? They say, I'll do it soon. I just want to encourage person, don't procrastinate. And don't be ashamed of your story. Don't be ashamed of your story. Tell your story because it can be an encouragement to others. Persons who have read my book have said to me, I read a book and it's like I am reading my own story. I am sure that your story, it may sound similar, but it has something in it that will help somebody. And so I encourage persons, while you're thinking about it, don't just think about it, start writing. Start writing, because I am sure that somebody is out there that will be influenced in a positive way by your life, just as my story have made its impact.
Well said. Well said, both of you. Smith sisters, thank you so much for making it to our platform together this time. Thank you for being here the first time. I keep on following both of your pages, especially Oberlene, when you're doing your bodybuilding and your juicing. Keep posting because they encourage me. They encourage me. If they don't encourage nobody else, they encourage me. I get up and I go do my juicing because I know I'm supposed to do it. It takes work to take care of yourself, just like it takes work to take care of your newborn. It takes work to take care of yourself. And sometimes when we see each other doing the things, yesterday, Sunday, I was at the gym on a new bicycle.
Awesome.
Cycling away because I wanted to get my exercise in yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I missed 2 days. I had a 2-day break and I had to refuel my body because my body was hurting so much from the last day of exercise. So I had to get my electrolytes in. I had to get my sustenance going. I had to get my food kind going, my banana, my greens. I had to get them going. And my body felt healed instantly. So thank you for your wise words of wisdom. I think we have accomplished what we came here to do tonight because I wanted to hear from two published, what I think are successful women, successful writers, and you're successful in your endeavors. And I wanted us to just share your examples this evening and remind people that the books are still here. The books are still available. Just like mine is. I need to buy some more and keep on sharing my book. I don't know why I don't. But I need to continue to share my book. But again, He Whispers Be Still can be found on Amazon and Undaunted and Determined. Beverly, Oberlene, thank you so much. Enjoy.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having us.
My pleasure. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on Why I Write. And tell me if you like where we are new on YouTube. We go YouTube because not everybody is on Facebook, and we just want to get the word out. But continue to share this link, like and share, so that we can get more and more people logged on to the exciting creators we have in our midst. Until next week, we have another very intriguing guest.